Last week my quest for frogs finally began. I went down to my local forest and after searching for hours we finally found a little bit of frog spawn. So I placed some of it in this bucket and took everything home. It's now been a few days since we got them home and they're already about to hatch. So let's quit wasting time and get to work designing a beautiful aquarium for these little guys. For this one we're going to use a 45 liter aquarium. It has a decent footprint and will be more than adequate for our tadpoles. Before we can get started though, we need to add a self-leveling foam mat underneath. This will account for any inconsistencies between the cabinet and the bottom of the aquarium. With that out of the way, we can get started. For substrate I'm gonna use some simple play sand. It gives off a fairly natural look and is very cost effective. Just make sure you thoroughly wash it before use. I didn't wash it thoroughly enough and as you can see it makes for a very cloudy tank right away. By the way, I recently got a few comments asking me where I get my tools and my materials. So for this video I decided to include a few affiliate links in the description of the video. Buying through these links will give me a small percentage without any added cost for you. With the sand cleaned up, it's time to get started on the hardscape. Since this setup will only be running for about 3 months, I didn't really feel like spending any money on rocks or wood. Therefore I decided to keep it simple and grab a few river rocks from my yard. While deciding on how the scape should look, it's best to try a few different designs. Try to match various elements together in a way that makes sense to you. For example, the mopani wood on the left has a few curves to it. Placing a few rocks on the inside of the curve makes it look like the wood is wrapping around them. Eventually, I came up with this design. I intentionally left some space behind and next to the hardscape. This is where I want most of the plants to go. Talking about plants, normally I would select a wide range of plants for more visual interest. But since this is a temporary setup, I'm just using this one plant. I found it in a creek near where I found the frog spawn. I have no idea what it's called, so if you have any ideas, please let me know in the comments below. If you've seen last week's video, you know we took an entire bucket of water from the pond we found the frog spawn in. This is to make sure all the water parameters will be perfect for our little froggos. All the water you've seen me use up to this point has been tap water. But from this point onward, all the water, including this, is all pristine pond water. To complete the natural look, I'm adding a few handfuls of leaf litter. You can buy these online, which ensures they're safe, but personally, I like to collect them myself and cook them for 20 minutes before using any kind of setup. Cooking the leaves will kill any hitchhikers or disease that may be present on the leaves. It also ensures the leaves will sink immediately. Next, I added a few more stems of the mystery plant from before. I also added these mini pine cone thingies. I collected them a while ago, cooked them back then and saved them for later use. They're totally safe to use in this tank, but for now they'll float. Not to worry though, as they'll sink in a couple of days. This concludes the scaping of the aquarium, so now it's time to fill up the tank. But while filling up the aquarium with water from the bucket, I noticed a little oversight on my end. The bucket that's holding the frog spawn, or tadpoles, I don't know what you call them at this stage. They're somewhere in between, I guess. Either way, the bucket is starting to run dry, so I had to transfer them to the aquarium before I could fill it up completely. This isn't that big of an issue, I just have to be careful not to stir up the tadpoles whilst adding the last bit of water. With the tank now filled up, I briefly want to go over the lighting and filtration. The lighting is nothing fancy, it's just a budget aquarium lamp from Amazon. It's no longer being sold, but I've linked up a similar one in the description of this video. It's set on a timer for 6 hours a day. As for filtration, I'm using an Aquaclear 20 hang-on back filter. It's set to the lowest speed and the intake has been covered with a sponge. I don't want to create a lot of flow in this aquarium. I just want a gentle circulation of water. Prior to adding it to this tank, the filter has been running for a good 2 months already on a different setup. This is important because it ensures the filter's media has been covered with beneficial bacteria, which in turn will help break down any animal waste. That said, I don't think this kind of setup really needs a filter, as long as you set up the tank at least 2 weeks prior to adding livestock. Alright, that's enough about the filter. Let's see how the tadpoles are doing after their first week. So it's now been over a week since we initially set up this tank and I've been loving every second of it. Every time I come to take a look at this tank, it's absolutely buzzing with life. And I didn't really have to wait that long for it to start. Because the day after we set up this tank, all of the tadpoles were already free swimming. They've already grown quite a lot since last week and they are now actively exploring the tank. Oh, and there goes the lamp. Well, I guess that'll do it for this outro. I'm gonna follow up on this one in about a month or so. And if that's something that you're interested in, definitely hit subscribe. In the meantime, I think you will enjoy this video next. I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.